you can have a long career. Like myself, I started my apprenticeship at 21 years old, and now I'm 42. I already have 21 years into the trade. I still have 20 years to go, but I've had a good living. The trades do provide good livings, good solid livable wages, easily raise kids, buy a house, support your family on these wages. All of our trades are fairly well spread out.
Okay.
And it just really kind of depends on what interests you. Now myself, I know I really enjoy painting. I really like going to work every day and being able to do what we do and step back and look at it and go, yeah, I did that. I had a good day. For some people that's glazing. They like working outdoors all the time. They like where heights don't bother them, so they could be up 20, 30 stories and it doesn't bother them. Some people it does. It's a personal preference. I mean, I personally love what I do, and I think you would talk to the glazers, and I bet you they'd tell you they love what they do too. So it's just kind of which way you kind of gravitate to. It's a personal thing. Sure, well, I can tell you right off the bat, math and science. I'm sure you hear that all the time, but it really is. I mean, if you're getting out on, especially for a glazer, take that for example. If you're out there, you really need to know how to precisely measure and cut metal, because if you're putting on a curtain wall, which a curtain wall is the outside of a building, in layman's terms, and if you're cutting the metal and you're measuring it and cutting it wrong, by the time you get to the end of it, everything's going to be all messed up. So really, seriously, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but math and science are huge, and I'm sure you're going to get that in almost all the trades. But it really is a big component of what we do. And I've talked to people other training coordinators from other trades, and they'll say, people come in and they say, well, I'm not good in math and I'm not good in science, but then they teach them that in apprenticeship school. And they kind of hide it, so they don't realize they're learning math and science. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, the people are getting it, and they're doing well in their careers. So yeah, definitely math and science. I just hit on it, and this is nothing you can teach, but not being afraid of heights is actually quite big. Now you can get, you just look at some of the buildings, how high does the glass go up in some of these buildings, 30, 40 stories. So if you're afraid of heights, I wouldn't necessarily point you in that direction, but you can overcome it. One of the things we do is we do teach a lot of safety classes, okay? And a lot of the fear of heights actually is, we'll actually train that out of you a little bit. As we teach you how to be safe, all of a sudden that fear goes away a little bit, because all of a sudden you realize if you're up on a swing stage and something happens, because you hooked up your fall protection correctly, you realize you're not going to fall even if something happens to the swing stage. So we can actually train the fear out of you a little bit, but there's still nothing like getting up there and getting your feet on a swing stage or on a 150-foot lift, something like that. That's a different process. I mean, but we make the guys go through it, and hopefully they get better with it as time goes
on. Maybe that I don't have a boss standing right behind me watching me every second when I'm working. The free range to, just the best part. I mean, there's a lot of different parts that I enjoy. I mean, going to different job sites all the time, not having to stay in the same place all the time, is really something I enjoy. You see so many different projects, and I might be a painter, but I don't just paint. I mean, I'll grab some drywall mud and fix a patch and do a lot of other stuff than just painting. So it's not just going to benefit me in the workplace, but at home too, when I have my own little projects or whatever I'm going to do. So right now I'm driving to Fond du Lac from the forest, so it's about 60 miles. I mean, it's not always like that, but you're going to run into that. I've had job sites that were literally 2 minutes from my house. So we got to take the good with the bad, I guess.
It depends on the work picture. A couple years ago, we were down to probably starting 6 or 7 a year. But in the last 2 years, I think, what did we start this year? About 15. So, I mean, it really depends. As you see the economy kind of go up and construction go up. I mean, the more tower cranes you see when you drive around town, the better off it is for all of us. And the more of them you see, the more apprentices we're gonna have. So yeah, we started about 15 of them, 15 new apprentices this year. And it's projecting that we will be starting, if not growing, about the same amount for the next several years, that's actually really good. Because once the economy took the little dip, I say little, but once it crashed in 2008 or so, you really saw a decline in apprenticeship. I also have a feeling we're going to see an increase in apprenticeship going forward, simply because, I mean, you see it in the news where the baby boomer generation is now getting the age where they're going to start retiring. And as they start retiring, that's going to open up more positions for apprentices. So I can really see some of our contractors who haven't really pushed apprenticeship and used apprenticeship a lot over the last few years because they get comfortable with their guys. They want to make sure their guys keep working. Well, once those guys start retiring, they're going to start replacing them with apprentices. And hopefully they see that a few years ahead of time, so all of a sudden they don't have 10 guys retire at the same time and they go, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I see apprenticeship growing over the next probably 10, 15 years, to be honest with you. What our applicants have to do is they have to pass what's called an AccuPlacer test, okay? Once they pass this AccuPlacer test, then they get put on our waiting list. And once they're on our waiting list and a contractor calls us and says, hey, I want to put on an apprentice or two, then we'll be able to send a couple of them out. Like Randy mentioned, Livesey was the first one he actually went to and interviewed with and got the job. So that's ideal. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes we'll send 2 or 3 people out to interview for one apprenticeship position. One of them get it, the other 2 remain on the list, so that the next time another contractor calls up, we can send them out again. Okay. What we periodically do is there's a chance you could sit on the list for a few months before getting an interview. What we periodically do is we'll contact the people on the list and make sure they're still interested, because sometimes people don't want to wait on the list and they'll find another job, or they'll just remove them off the list. It's just the nature of the beast. It's nothing against them, nothing against us. It's just it's just the way it goes. But yeah, I would say probably about more than half. I would say more than half of the people who pass the test and end up on the list end up with an apprenticeship over time. Ours is listed. You're on there by the date that you applied. Okay. Now, you could have somebody, like I mentioned, we can send them out for interviews and keep sending these guys out for interviews. And if they don't get the job, but they're still interested, once you're on the list, you can remain on the list as long as you want. Okay. You could be the last person on the list and the first one to get the job, or you could be on the list for months before you get a job. That's just kind of the way it is. I know some trades do have a ranked list and that kind of thing. We don't. Ours is simply by date of application. You don't have to proceed up to calculus or anything like that, but a lot of the cutting that the lasers do, you need to know angles, you need to know basic measurements, that kind of thing. So I would say normal, high school level math is a good start. We'll take it from there with the one of the classes that everybody will go through is like blueprint reading. You need to know that kind of stuff for that, so you can figure out dimensions and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that we would need. Stay in school, honestly. Brush up on your math, your science, and if you are interested, come talk to us. You don't have to. The thing with our trade is you don't have to wait until you're graduated to take the AccuPlacer. Okay, so if somebody was interested, say they're a senior, they got a month to go, and they want to get the ball rolling early, you could actually take the AccuPlacer before you graduated. Once you graduate, as long as we have a copy of your high school diploma, we can get you right on the list. So what I would tell some high school students is if you like working with your hands, if you like not going to the same place every day, like Randy mentioned, that's also one of my favorite things is you're not going to an office and sitting in a cubicle all day long. It's different all the time. If you like being creative, as soon as you're ready, come talk to us.